Hello everyone, welcome to CSR's UPC online classes. So this will be continuation of our polity MCQs. It will be set 2, that is the second set of polity MCQs. The first set is already uploaded. You can go through it and check the 10 questions. Okay, fine. So let's start. So the first question is, the Anglo-Indians were for the first time officially recognized under the census of 1911. Second statement, they were first identified under a law, that is the Government of India Act 1919. So here we need to know about Anglo-Indians because Anglo-Indians were in news recently. The nomination, the parliamentary nomination, the president nominates. So that was cancelled by amendment. So it was in news. So we need to know about Anglo-Indians, their historical perspective. So first statement is correct. First statement is correct because they were first time recognized. They were recognized. Here the word is recognized. So they were first recognized under the census of 1911. But second statement is wrong. They were first identified. The word is identified. They were identified under the Government of India Act 1935. It's not 1919. So these are factual questions. If you know, you know. If you do not know, so it becomes very difficult to answer. So पहले दफ़ा उनका रिकॉग्निशन मिला था सेंसस में ऑफ 1911 एंड फर्स्ट टाइम आइडेंटिफाई हुए थे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935 में. ओके, फाइन. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. So the next question is, the right to remain silent of an accused comes under which of the following? So now it is a direct question from polity. So the right to remain silent of an accused, it means it's asking accused in any case, in any criminal case, the accused has also a right to remain silent. So that comes from which, like it's a fundamental right under which article? Is it article 19, 20, 21 or none? So here the answer is article 20, that is the self-incrimination. Fine. So we'll read the case now. So exactly what are the cases, and you need to know the case names also. So the right to silence of an accused emanates from Article 20, Clause 3, which states that no one can be compelled to be witness against himself. That is the privilege against self-incrimination. You can't compel anyone to be a witness against himself. You can't compel to any criminal or any guilty, any accused, like not guilty, any accused. You can't compel. आप किसी को compel नहीं कर सकते. जब आप केस बनता है, पुलिस लेके जाती है, तो पुलिस स्टेशन में आप कंपेल नहीं कर सकते, पुलिस कंपेल नहीं कर सकता. सो दैट गाय और दैट अक्यूज हैज द राइट, उनके पास एक राइट है टू रिमेन साइलेंट. नाउ द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आल्सो रिलेटेड टू दिस. The Prahlad dilemma is associated with which of the following? Now here the thing is this Prahlad dilemma. Now Prahlad dilemma is a very important, it's a very with respect to this particular self-incrimination, this dilemma, or this is a judgment, actually it's a judgment. So the naming is Prahlad dilemma is associated with which of the following? 19, 21, 30 or 20. So the answer is article 20. So it is related to self-incrimination. From the explanation, we'll see like what exactly the Prahlad dilemma is. Okay, see, the right to silence is a vital right of an accused recognized by law. So section 313 of CRPC also recognize this particular right to silence of an accused. Okay. Now it germinates from the right to protection against self incrimination. वहीं से आती है जो self incrimination article 20 clause 3 में है, वहीं से आती है ये जो right to silence. So it is a kind of a fundamental right under article 20 clause 3. So there was a very famous case, Nandini Satpathy case. Even in the Nandini Satpathy case, the Supreme Court said Article 20 Clause 3 is a human article which guarantees dignity and integrity to an individual and gives him the right to silence. There are n number of cases, many cases which deals with this, but this case was very, like it was very famous. That's why I included it. However, this right is also controversial in light of recent case of Prahlad versus State of Rajasthan. This is popularly known as the Prahlad dilemma. See, right to silence, it is the right is given to accused. Accused को right दिया जाता है, but that does not mean कि every accused have this right to silence and they can use it on their own self-interest. That can never happen. So it is not absolute. So this thing, Supreme Court said it in Prahlad case, in Prahlad versus State of Rajasthan, which is popularly known as the Prahlad dilemma. In this Prahlad case, the Supreme Court prosecuted the accused. It prosecuted the accused by drawing adverse inference from the silence of the accused. Sometimes what happens is the accused can also use this particular right for his own benefit. He may have committed something, but because he will not say anything, and he'll say, I have a right to silence. So that does not mean, so it is not absolute. The Supreme Court said, ki if you are doing it knowingly, you are using this right for your own self-interest or own benefit, then we can draw inferences. We can draw adverse inferences, and like we can prosecute. So there are other cases like Ram Naresh versus State of Chhattisgarh, Munish Muwar versus State of Haryana, Bajendra Singh versus State of Madhya Pradesh, where the courts have said that the practice of drawing adverse inferences from the silence of accused and prosecuting them guilty can be done under certain circumstances. In certain circumstances, अगर कोर्ट को ऐसा लगता है, if the court comes to know, yeah, कि this accused is trying to using this right against the law or something, so they can draw adverse inferences. So we can also conclude here that right to silence of an accused under Article 23 it is not absolute. See, nothing is absolute. Most of the things, most of the fundamental rights are also not absolute in nature. There are exceptions. So exceptions will always be there. So this Nandini Satpathy case, Prahlad dilemma. So all these cases you need to remember. No need to remember of this Chhattisgarh Ram Naresh, Munish Mubar and Bajendra Singh case, but at least you can remember this Prahlad case. Prahlad case is a very landmark case related to this particular right of the accused. That is the right to silence. Fine. Next. Recently news, the Kesham Meghachandra Singh case is related to which of the following? It was in news in 2020. It was in news, so it's a very common question. It was in news. Everyone knows it. So it's related to either Article 356, 10th schedule, 5th schedule, or Article 143. So here the answer is 10th schedule. It is related to anti-defection. Fine. So what exactly happened? See, first of all, this case deals with 10th schedule, that is anti-defection. So that is the Kesham Meghachandra Singh case versus the Honorable Speaker in Manipur 2020. Okay. So here what happens is, see, the anti-defection, in any anti-defection case, the final authority is the speaker. Okay. But this particular thing is prone to bias, because speaker is always from, usually or generally from the ruling party, right? So obviously he will have some or the other bias towards this party. So that's why the Supreme Court has made significant suggestions regarding the disqualification powers of the speaker under 10th schedule, or that is the anti-defection law. So here what the Supreme Court recommended is, it recommended the parliament to amend the constitution regarding the role of speaker and as a quasi-judicial authority while dealing with disqualification matters under anti-defection law. Because this speaker continues to belong to a particular political party, which can lead to bias. That is why the Supreme Court wants the parliament to amend the constitution and change the disqualification powers and make it more strict. Okay. Even Supreme Court suggested an independent tribunal can be appointed, which will substitute the speaker of the Lok Sabha and legislative assemblies to deal with matters of disqualification. They also suggested why the speaker will do. Let's have an independent tribunal. एक independent tribunal आ जाएगा और वही काम इस disqualification powers का जो power है वो उन्हीं को दिया जाएगा. Fine. Third is the tribunal will be headed by a retired Supreme Court judge or a retired Chief Judge of a High Court. Also suggested, and here and is there, and the Supreme Court also suggested some other outside independent mechanisms can also adjudicate on such matters. Any outside third party independent mechanism can also have the powers of disqualification, because speaker's role is prone to bias. Okay. So here you need to, because these things are important from mains perspective also. In mains answer writing also, you can use it as a value addition, you'll get good marks. So this was related to current affair related to anti-defection law. Anti-defection law is a very important component of polity. You can go through the Lakshmikant book, but you need to read something beyond Lakshmikant also, because these stuffs are very important from prelims and mains both. Fine, next question. Next question is, which of the following words are mentioned in both preamble and objective resolutions? Now this question becomes very important because we know कि preamble, the source of preamble was the objective resolution. Like in a way, from the objective resolution, the preamble has come. Now preamble everyone knows. The words in preamble everyone knows, like socialist, secular, democratic, republic, justice of socio-economic and political justice, equality of status, opportunity, freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship. All those words are there in preamble, we know. But we also need to know what was there in objective resolution. Okay, then only we'll have a full-fledged preparation, because or else it will look like a half-baked knowledge. So if this question comes, you need to know what are the words there in objective resolution. So which of the following words are mentioned in both sovereign, democratic, republic, and freedom of thought? Here the answer is democratic is not there. Democratic is not there in objective resolution. In objective resolution, it is there in preamble, but it's not there. So the answer is 1, 3, and 4. Now here you need to know in objective resolution. In objective resolution, what was it? It was there ki India, like it proclaimed to resolve India into a sovereign. So sovereign was word was there. Sovereign, independent. This is a new word. Independent word is not there in preamble. Independent, republic. So sovereign word is there in preamble. Republic word is there in preamble, but independent word is not there. Okay, independent word is not there in preamble. It is there in objective resolution. So here democratic word is not there, but in preamble you will see in the place of independent it is democratic. Okay. So the answer is 1, 3, and 4. Freedom of thought is there in both. Republic is there, sovereign is there. So I would suggest you to go through the objective resolution once and take the important words and make notes so that you can have a clear difference between the preamble and objective resolution. Like what are the words which are present in both and what are the words which are present in preamble but not here, or vice versa. Fine. Okay, next. Because preamble question comes, one or two question will come, and before also these kind of questions have come in particular to preamble they have asked. So they may ask about objective resolution, they may ask, so you need to know. Okay, next. Okay, democratic word is not there in objective resolution. Next, consider the following about National Committee for Strengthening Maritime and Coastal Security, that is NCSMCS. Okay, this body coordinates all matters related to maritime and coastal security. Okay, this statement is correct because we can guess from the statement, we can guess. Okay, deals with this maritime and coastal security. Now it is headed by the Secretary, Ministry of Shipping. See, Secretary, Ministry of Shipping, it looks very okay, huh? Maybe Ministry of Shipping will be there because coastal security is there. Maybe Secretary can head it, but it is wrong. It is headed by Cabinet Secretary. So you need to know some unique points because it doesn't look like how can a Cabinet Secretary do it, but it is correct. Cabinet Secretary heads this particular committee. Okay, fine. Next. Okay, another polity question. Consider the following statements. Only one ground is mentioned in the Constitution for the removal of the president. First statement. Second statement. No ground is mentioned in the Constitution for the removal of vice president. Okay, now this is very important question. Third, the speaker has discretionary power in accepting or rejecting a motion carrying no confidence. See, first statement is correct. First statement is 100% correct because only one ground is mentioned. That ground is violation of constitution. If president violates it, then only that only one ground. Second is no ground is mentioned in constitution for removal of vice president. Yes, this is also correct. Actually, no ground is mentioned. Okay, no ground is mentioned in the constitution for removal of vice president. Third is The speaker has discretionary power in accepting or rejecting a motion carrying non-confidence. Yes, this is also correct. Whether any motion comes of non-confidence, the speaker there has a discretionary power. It can reject also. So all the three are correct. But now I'll like if I'll tell you ki if Supreme Court has the power to remove vice president, okay, for any irregularities in the election of chairman of Rajya Sabha or vice president. Okay. So yes, Supreme Court has the power, but that comes under the RP Act. Okay, not in the Constitution. Disqualification it can do, but it comes from the RP Act. Remember. Okay, fine. In Constitution, no ground is mentioned. Okay. So these are the like these are easy things, but you need a revision. You need revision of polity because polity is very like confusing. Lot of steps are there, so it becomes very confusing to remember. So the more MCQs you practice, it becomes easier to remember. Fine, all are correct. Next, contempts. Okay, contempt of court is also very important from exam point of view. So sorry. Yeah, first statement. The constitutional provisions of contempt of court also have a legal backing. So yes, there is a legal backing. There is an act also regarding contempt of court, 1971 Act. Yes, it has a legal backing. So statement one is correct. Second question, second option, the Attorney General's prior consent is in writing is required for the Supreme Court to initiate criminal contempt proceedings. Like here it's asking ki in order to initiate any kind of criminal contempt proceeding for the Supreme Court, it has to take the prior consent of Attorney General. Now these stuff you'll not get in polity book. You need to have like understanding, like exact full process understanding, because it was mentioned in Hindu this time. This statement has been in news. It was mentioned in Hindu, so this is a correct statement. Attorney General's prior consent is required. You can go and check. There's an article on this. So first statement is correct. Second is correct. Third, any amendments in the Contempt of Courts Act 1971, that is a legal backing, will impact the inherent constitutional powers of Supreme Court and High Court to punish anyone for its impact. So it is saying कि अगर कोई हम amend करते हैं इसी act से, if we do some amendments, some changes, it will impact the inherent constitutional provisions of Supreme Court and High Court in contempt. So constitutional provision is what? Article 129 for Supreme Court and Article 215 for High Court. So Article 129 says it enables the Supreme Court to investigate and punish any person for its contempt. Here Article 215, it gives the power to High Court to punish for contempt. So if we make any amendments here, it is saying it will impact these two articles. How come? How can a law impact a constitutional provision unless and until we make it constitutionally amended? How can a normal law impact? It will not impact, because see, here in this law we only have the provisions, or we can say the process, but the inherent power comes from here. The inherent power comes from the constitutional provision of 129, 215, even Article 142. In 142 also, the article, the constitution enables the Supreme Court to investigate and punish any person for its contempt. Okay, so this statement is wrong. It will not impact the constitutional provision, so this is a wrong statement. Okay, last statement is there were pre-independence laws of contempt of India in early high courts and also in some courts of princely states. Yes, this is also correct. Previous previous laws, like before independence also, there were laws, there were British laws on this contempt. Okay, so This is a mix of like current affairs. This is a mix of history. It's a mix of current affairs, history, and static polity. Okay, this particular question, it was a mixing of each, three to four things. So in explanation, I have mentioned regarding this statement 4. So yeah, amendments to Contempts of Court Act 1971 will not impact the inherent constitutional power of Supreme Court and High Court to punish. There are pre-independence law of contempt in India. Besides, the early high courts and the courts of some princely states also had such laws. Before independence, also some princely state courts were having these laws. Some high courts were also having these laws. Now, what is this case? That is prior approval in contempt cases. See, nowadays contempt cases are on rise, and lot of news you'll be hearing on contempt. So here, the prior consent in writing of the Attorney General is required. So this is a very important stuff you need to remember here. Ki prior consent in writing here. This one also in writing, like orally it will not happen. In writing, you need to do. The Attorney General has to do for the Supreme Court to initiate criminal contempt action. Okay, according to the, now this is according to the Contempt of Courts Act of 1971. Now you need to remember, this statement is not a constitutional provision. It is not a constitutional provision. Remember the fact, it is not a constitutional provision. It is not mentioned in constitution. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में बस इतना लिखा है कि आर्टिकल 129 में पावर दिया गया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट को टू प्रोसिक्यूट और टू पनिश. दैट्स इट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. बाकी प्रोसेस, एज आई सेड, ऑल दोस प्रोसेस रिलेटेड एक्ट में है, कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट एक्ट में, और इसी एक्ट में दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग इज मेंशन्ड. ओके, सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड हाई कोर्ट डिराइव देयर कंटेम्प्ट पावर्स फ्रॉम द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ये तो ठीक है, वो अपना पावर डिराइव करते हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से, कंटेम्प्ट पावर. बट ये जो एक्ट है, द कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट एक्ट 1917, ओनली आउटलाइंस द प्रोसीड्यूर. वो बस प्रोसीड्यूर को आउटलाइन करते हैं इन रिलेशन टू इन्वेस्टिगेशन एंड पनिशमेंट फॉर कंटेम्प्ट. Therefore, deletion of the offense from the act will not impact the inherent constitutional powers of the superior courts to punish anyone for its contempt. These powers will continue to remain independent of the 1971 Act. आप अगर 1971 Act को कुछ चेंज भी करते हो, वहां पे अगर if you do some changes, if you delete the provisions also, still then सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास पावर है, क्योंकि वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से डिराइव करते हैं. ओके, फाइन. So these are the things, like conceptually you need to understand कि कौन सा कोर्ट्स, कौन सा like law से आया है, या फिर कौन सा पावर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से आया है. You need to differentiate both the things. Okay, next. Now this question is about okay, this is a common question. First statement, the cabinet secretary is appointed for a fixed tenure of 3 years. First of all, it is not 3 years. It is not 3 years. It is 2 years. ये 2 साल के लिए है, but it is extend हो सकता है, extension भी हो सकता है. Remember, okay. The cabinet secretary is appointed by the appointments committee of the cabinet. Here, this is correct. So there are total 8 cabinet committees. Okay, cabinet committees एक chapter है. You can go through polity book. 8 6 थे. There were previously 6 plus 2 recently added. So the cabinet secretary is appointed by the appointments committee of the cabinet. Okay, the appointments committee of the cabinet consists of PM, home minister, and other ministers. No, appointments committee only consists of PM and home minister only, no one else. Remember, appointments committee. So the statement 3 is wrong, 1 is wrong, only 2 is correct. So state answer is only 2. So factual questions है, you need to remember all these stuffs, because आप अगर याद नहीं करोगे तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी, because these kind of questions will come. पॉलिटी में ज़्यादा बाहर का नहीं आता है, but they will put some tricky questions. Okay. So the cabinet committee has a tenure of 2 years, but there can be extension. The appointments committee, that is only prime minister and home minister, appoints all the senior level post. Okay, last question, very important question. Which of the following causes is not a clear example of judicial activism? Is not. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू नीड टू नो व्हाट इज जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म, और इनमें से कौन सा केस जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म का एग्जांपल नहीं है. फर्स्ट इज एसआर बोम्मई केस, अरुणा शानूबाग केस, मेनका गांधी केस, पुट्टस्वामी केस. नाउ देखिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल you need to understand here what is judicial activism. Judicial activism means interference, simple interference of judiciary in the ambit of legislature. In the ambit of legislature. Now you need to know judiciary का काम क्या है and legislature का काम क्या है. So you have to write like this: legislature work is to make laws. वो लॉ बनाते हैं, मेक लॉज और रूल्स और रेगुलेशन जो भी बोल सकते हो. जुडिशरी वर्क इज टू इंटरप्रीट लॉज. रिमेंबर, इंटरप्रीट लॉज. जब ये जो लॉ बनाते हैं, जुडिशरी चेक करती है, इंटरप्रीट करती है क्या वो लॉज सही से बनाए हैं. आर द लॉज इनकंसिस्टेंट विथ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? दैट जुडिशरी हैज टू चेक. Judiciary work is not to make laws, but when judiciary starts to make or frame laws or rules, laws does not mean here कि कोई act बनाएगा, मतलब rule बनाते हैं judiciary, तो that is called judicial activism. That is called judicial activism. जब वो legislature का काम in a way करते हैं, that is called judicial activism. तो कहीं ना कहीं जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म इट इज अ डबल एज्ड स्वॉर्ड. जुडिशियरी बोल रही है कि क्योंकि लेजिस्लेचर इज नॉट डूइंग देयर वर्क प्रॉपर्ली, सो वी आर बाउंड टू डू इट. ओके, लेजिस्लेचर बोल रही है कि ये हमारा काम है, जुडिशियरी क्यों कर रही है? बिकॉज आर्टिकल 50 डज नॉट प्रमोट जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म. आर्टिकल 50 इट इज सेपरेशन ऑफ जुडिशियरी फ्रॉम द एग्जीक्यूटिव, राइट? इट डज नॉट प्रमोट. तो ये हमेशा न्यूज में डिबेटेबल चीज है, हमेशा रहती है. अभी आपको ये तय करना है कि इनमें से जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म का कौन सा नहीं है. देखो, अरुणा शनुबाग, पैसिव विटनेसिया, इसमें पैसिव विटनेसिया को रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया. सो ये जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म है. पैसिव विटनेसिया को एक काइंड ऑफ आर्टिकल 21 में डाला गया कि हाँ पैसिव विटनेसिया कर सकते हो. इट इज द राइट. डिग्निफाइड डेथ के लिए एक राइट हो सकता है. मेनका गांधी केस, मेनका गांधी केस itself is a big topic. अभी टाइम नहीं मिलेगा बोलने के लिए. लाइक इट इज रिलेटेड टू, मैं और एक क्लास में इसका बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं. मेनका गांधी केस में लाइक इसके बाद ही आर्टिकल 21 बहुत ब्रॉड हो गया है. द 21 लाइक राइट टू एनवायरमेंट, राइट टू प्राइवेसी, राइट टू दिस, राइट टू दैट, बहुत सारे इनहेरेंट आ गए हैं बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. मेनका गांधी केस के बाद आर्टिकल 21 has become very broad. सो ये भी जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म है. पुट्टुस्वामी केस, राइट टू प्राइवेसी 21 में डाला गया. सो दैट इज ऑल्सो ए केस ऑफ जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म कि तुम जुडिशरी क्या करे, एक पर्टिकुलर स्टफ को कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर डाल रहा है या फिर उसके अंदर इंक्लूड कर रहा है. लाइक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन नथिंग बट अ लॉ, इंक्लूड कर रहा है. काम किसका है? इंक्लूड करना. लॉ पे इंक्लूड करना काम लेजिस्लेचर का. इट इज द वर्क ऑफ द लेजिस्लेचर टू अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन और टू ऐड समथिंग इनटू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. इट इज द वर्क ऑफ लेजिस्लेचर. बट हियर व्हाट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज डूइंग, इट इज in a way creating laws or including something into the article. Putuswamy, they have included right to privacy into article 21, right? Aruna Sanubag, they have added passive witness here. Menka Gandhi तो पूरा का पूरा सबसे like it was a watershed event और it's a turning point of our constitution. सब कुछ उसके बाद ही ऐड हुआ है. 1976, 1978, 1978 में उन्होंने आर्टिकल इतना ब्रॉड कर दिया कि उसके बाद सब कुछ ऐड होने लगे. लाइक स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 1987, राइट टू एनवायरमेंट, मेटा केस. सो एसआर बोम्मई केस में क्या हुआ था फिर? एसआर बोम्मई केस इज नॉट एन एग्जांपल ऑफ जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म बिकॉज एसआर बोम्मई केस में इट इज फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट इज रिलेटेड टू द यूज ऑफ आर्टिकल 356 or President's Rule. SR Bommai case में the court did not go to Article 356 and changed. They did not. The Supreme Court did not change the Article 365, or even the did not include any provisions into Article 365. They only said these are the guidelines you can follow before putting President's Rule. These are the 6 to 7 or 8 to 9 guidelines. That's it. Before putting Article 356 of President's Rule, just follow this. So it was not like going into the legislative part and making a rule or changing the constitution, as simple as that. So it is not judicial activism. It is an example of, so here comes another term. This is an example of judicial restraint. Judicial restraint. So you have to remember, it is a potential mains question. The difference between judicial activism and judicial restraint. Judicial restraint means the judiciary is restraining itself. वो अपने काम के एम्बिट में देर काम पे एम्बिट में रहते हैं, दे स्टे इन देयर ओन लिमिट और देयर ओन एम्बिट, दे डू नॉट गो टू एनी अदर्स एम्बिट, लाइक लेजिस्लेचर के एम्बिट में नहीं जाते हैं. ओके, सो दिस इज द बेसिक concept behind this two terms, that is judicial activism and judicial restraint. तो अगर आपको एग्जांपल पूछा जाएगा, आप उसी हिसाब से इसको सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. यू नीड टू नो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज जुडिशियल रिस्ट्रेंट एंड व्हाट इज जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म. ओके, सो मैंने लिखा है इन द एक्सप्लेनेशन, वी कैन check it. Okay, so it's yes, sir. For my case, it is judicial restraint, not judicial activism. The thing I explained now, same thing is here. So judicial activism is the influence of judiciary in the ambit of lawmaking. Lawmaking के काम पे judiciary in, it's not influence, it is interference. Printing mistake हुआ, it is the interference. For example, Putusami case, right to privacy included in fundamental rights. Again, liquor shop को ban किया था Supreme Court ने, banning of liquor shop within 500-meter highways. ये के बालू केस है, BLU. Now द डिबेट इज अच्छा बुरा हम नहीं देख रहे हैं, द पॉइंट इज जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में है. अब ये काम किसका है? बैनिंग ऑफ लिकर सब शुड बी द वर्क ऑफ द लेजिस्लेचर, बट बिकॉज द लेजिस्लेचर आर नॉट डूइंग देयर वर्क प्रॉपर्ली, सो जुडिशरी इज इंटरफेयरिंग एंड डूइंग. राइट. सुभाष काशीनाथ महाजन केस, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट केस, आप इसको अलग से करना बिकॉज दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सुभाष काशीनाथ महाजन केस अमेंडेड द SC/ST Atrocities Act of 1989. Remember this, the SC/ST, this much. Okay, Subhas Kashinath Mahajan, very important, amended the SC/ST Act, so it is a separate topic. Okay, time limit, another is time limit to burst the firecracker on Diwali. So this is also the court is doing. It's actually the work of the government, but because the government is not doing these rules, like not doing it rightly, so the court is bound to interfere. Passive witness Aruna Sanubhag case. Now, judicial restraint is limiting the powers of the judge to strike down law. They are not striking down a law. They are in their own limit. Obviously, when there is a, like there, if the law is not in consonance with the constitution, then only they can strike. But they unnecessarily don't interfere. That is judicial restraint. The court applauses, not applause. The court applauses the parliament and the state legislature unless they are violating the constitution. It promotes the provision of Article 50. So judicial restraint kahin na kahin it promotes Article 50, but judicial activism does not promote Article 50. Remember, because Article 50 is the separation between judiciary and executive. Okay, so this is the basic difference between judicial restraint, judicial activism. Activism is nothing but judicial overreach. Same thing. Okay. So it becomes important from both prelims and mains. In essay also, if question comes, you can write. Fine. So one important announcement I need to do. So from Wednesday, that is 28th, economy batch will be starting. So anyone who does not have that much conceptual understanding in economy, they can just contact me. They can go to my website and check my number. They can contact me from 28th, that is Wednesday. I'm starting. It will be a very holistic coverage. I'll cover some 3 years current affairs, and I will cover all sectors with MCQs, how to solve MCQs, everything I'll be doing it. Okay. So anyone interested can just contact me. Okay, fine. So here you can go csrclasses.in and you can check. Okay, thank you.